Hello, a very good afternoon. Welcome to this weekend edition of the News Review, where we recap all the top stories that has made headline both local and international in business, as well as all other social stories. We live from our studios here on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate. We also live on our social media handles, MBN 360, Facebook, YouTube, X. Follow us, subscribe to our channels, as well as be part of the MBN family. Remember the numbers. You can also share your thoughts with us on any of the stories that interest you. My name is El Samuels. Now we go for the first story, where the National Service Authority, NSA, has extended the deadline for submission of monthly evaluation form for National Service Personnel, NSP, to Friday, February 6, 2026, in a bid to ease compliance and improve administrative efficiency. The extension is to give personnel who are yet to complete and submit their forms additional time to do so, stressing that the evaluation process remains a mandatory requirement for validating active service status. Alongside the deadline extension, the NSA announced the introduction of a mandatory appointment system for personnel visiting district offices to submit their forms. All NSP will now be required to book appointment through their individual dashboards before appearing at the NSA district office. According to the authority, the appointment scheduling feature will be activated on Sunday, February 1st, 2026, and is intended to reduce congestion at the district offices whilst ensuring a more orderly, efficient, and convenient submission process. The NSA cautioned that failure to submit monthly evaluation forms by the new deadline could lead to delays in the processing of service allowances, underscoring the importance of timely compliance. The authority further urged all service personnel to rely exclusively on official NSA communication channels for accurate information, warning against misinformation that could affect compliance with the new measures. The Ghana Police Service has arrested 5 suspects in connection with a robbery attack that occurred in December 2025 at Nkasem in the Bono region. According to the police, the incident took place on December 2nd, 2025, when suspects, together with other accomplices armed with weapons, blocked the Goso Tepa Road and simultaneously attacked the Nkasem police station, the Ejumapa Cocoa Buying Company, Kobe Gold Buying Company, the Esitifin Rural Bank area at Nkasem. During the attack, the assailant reportedly made away with 2 AK-47 rifles and a stolen unspecified amount of cash from the bank, as well as 14,000 Ghana cedis from the Cocoa Buying Company and 12,000 Ghana cedis from the Gold Buying Company. An employee of the Jumapa Cocoa Buying Company was also shot and injured during the incident. The police, in a Facebook post on Sunday, February 1st, says sustained intelligence gathering and forensic investigation led to the arrest of a 35-year-old Muta Kofi, a commercial tricycle rider, on January 16, 2026 at a location known as Atani Ata near Nkasem. He reportedly admitted his involvement in the robbery. Further investigation resulted in the arrest of 4 additional suspects. They include 45-year-old Muhammadu Sajio, arrested in Nkasem, 28-year-old Shaibu Isa Jalo, also known as Jibu, arrested at Triponi, a 40-year-old Abdul Sulemana, arrested at Tangania Karaga in the northern region. Another suspect, 25-year-old Bakari Sule, also known as Taylor, a trader at Alaba and Kumasi, was arrested on January 25th, 2025. The police says efforts have been intensified to arrest 3 others suspects identified as Dauda, Muhammad Ali, and Hoyefi, who is believed to be a gang leader in possession of the stolen weapons, along with other firearms used in the robbery. The Ghana Police Service says it remains committed to ensuring the arrest of the remaining suspects to face the full rigors of the law. The National Democratic Congress, the NDC, has congratulated the New Patriotic Party on their successful conduct of its presidential primaries, which saw former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia emerge as the party's candidate for December 2028 presidential election. In a statement issued in Accra on Sunday, February 1st, 2026, and signed by the NDC National Chairman Johnson Asiedu Nketia, the party commended the NPP for organizing what it described as a violent-free electoral process. The National Democratic Congress hereby offers its congratulations to the opposition New Patriotic Party for the successful organization of a violent-free presidential candidate primaries that saw former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia emerge as the party's candidate for the presidential election slated for December 28th, the statement said. The NDC also praised the Ghana Police Service for what it terms as remarkable and efficient security arrangement that ensure the smooth conduct of the primaries. In its statement, the party said it welcomed the collaboration and the participation of the NPP and other political parties in efforts to strengthen and deepen Ghana's democracy. The NDC further acknowledged the concession statement issued by unsuccessful candidates expressing hope that they would uphold the reconciliatory tone of their remarks. We have also taken note of the reconciliatory concession statement from the other unsuccessful candidates and hope that they will walk their talk, the statement said. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia won the NPP's presidential primary, securing the party's flag-bearer position for the 2028 general election with a 56.4% of the total vote cast. His closest rival, Kennedy Ejapon, former member of parliament for Asin Central, came second with 46,544 votes, representing 23.76%, while Dr. Brian Echampon came third with 36,303 votes, representing 18.53%. They were followed by Dr. Yao Educhum, the fourth place with 1,999 votes, representing 1.02%. Kwabena Ejapon in fifth place, pulling 402 votes, representing 0.2%.
The Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has arrived in Latvia for a two-day official visit aimed at seeking clarity and justice with the tragic death of Ghanaian student Nana Ajay Ahia.
In a Facebook post on Monday, the minister said the visit was in line with the promise he made to Ghanaians to personally address the disturbing and unresolved circumstances surrounding the student's death while studying at Riga Technical University. Mr. Ablakwa disclosed that he received a warm welcome from Latvia's Foreign Minister, Her Excellency Baiba Brace, and that the two sides held productive bilateral discussions. According to him, the Latvian government has assured Ghana of full cooperation in efforts to uncover the truth and ensure justice. The Foreign Affairs Minister is leading a 6-member delegation made up of senior officials from the ministry, a forensic expert, and a pathologist. He explained that 2 family members of the deceased were unable to travel with the delegation on Saturday due to visa processing delays, but have since been issued visas and are expected to join the team in Latvia. Mr. Ablakwa clarified that all members of the delegation, including family representatives and experts, are fully funded by the ministry. He dismissed claims circulating on social media suggesting extortion, fake airline tickets, or demands for payment from the family, describing the allegations as baseless and unsupported by evidence. The minister noted that his delegation will continue engagements with Latvian authorities, including meetings with officials from the Ministries of Interior and Education, as well as investigators handling the case. The visit follows a statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs rejecting claims that it demanded money from the family of Nana Ajay Ahia to facilitate travel arrangements. The ministry reiterated that the government has borne all costs related to the investigation and travel and has maintained transparent communication with the family. According to the ministry, travel delays were caused solely by visa processing challenges, including incomplete documentation at the initial stage and not by any wrongdoing on the part of government officials. Mr. Ablakwa reaffirmed Ghana's commitment to protecting the welfare and dignity of its citizens abroad, stressing that the ministry remains focused on ensuring justice for the late Nana Ajay, for God and country.
The Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, has reaffirmed government commitment to integrating Ghana's indigenous languages into the national education system, describing language as central to culture and identity.
He made the remarks during a courtesy call on the Gamanche Kintakite Kochu II, the overlord of the Ga traditional area, amid growing national discussions on artificial intelligence and language representation, including recent engagements with Google AI. Speaking at the palace, Mr. Idrisu said the visit was his first official courtesy call since assuming office and assured the traditional ruler that Ghana's education system would remain firmly rooted in the country's cultural heritage.
It will be unthinkable for government under President John Dramani Mahama, with me as his Minister for Education, to think of the integration which must reflect our diversity as a people. Every society is its culture, and language is at the forefront of the definition of that culture. And therefore, it will be unthinkable for government to roll out any indigenous language policy and exclude the Ga language. So Nitaki Schroeder can be assured that I would not supervise that, and President Mahama will not tolerate nor accept that. Beyond what President Nkrumah did to promote multilingualism in our country, I have been at the forefront of the use of indigenous language to be at the center of our education learning curve. I would continue to maintain same whilst recognizing that English remains our official language.
On technology and innovation, Mr. Idrisu revealed that Google had initially piloted only 3 Ghanaian languages in its AI language initiatives. He said the ministry had formally engaged the company to include Ga Adangbe as a 4th language, with plans to expand coverage to all 12 approved Ghanaian indigenous languages, describing the move as both culturally necessary and forward-looking. The education minister added that
You're still live on the news review, coming to you from our studios on MBN TV, the 10th Avenue Extension Greater Estate. The review continued. A 6-year-old girl has tragically drowned in an irrigation pond at Central, a suburb of Betoy in the Volta region. The Ghana National Fire Service has confirmed.
The incident occurred on Sunday, February 1, 2026, when the child, identified as Sarah Ahiafo, reportedly accompanied other children to wash clothes at a pond-like water body used for irrigation purposes, according to a press statement issued by the Volta Regional Command of the Ghana National Fire Service on Monday, February 2, 2026. Personnel from the Kpeto Fire Station responded swiftly to a distress call at about 1:40 p.m. The statement added that the rescue team, led by Assistant Station Officer ASTNO David Jaka, immediately mobilized and conducted a search and rescue operation, retrieving the child's body from the water, though all efforts to resuscitate her proved unsuccessful. The deceased was subsequently handed over to the Ghana Police Service at the scene for preservation and further investigations. Preliminary findings by the Ghana National Fire Service indicate that the drowning occurred while the child was in the company of other minors who had gone to the site without adult supervision. The fire service has strongly cautioned parents and guidance to ensure children are not left unsupervised around open water bodies, warning that ponds, irrigation sites and similar areas pose serious dangers and should only be assessed under the direct supervision of responsible adults. The Ghana National Fire Service advises parents and guardians to ensure that children do not visit or engage in activities around ponds, irrigation sites, and other open water bodies without adult supervision, the statement read. The Ghana National Fire Service also extended condolences to the bereaved family and reaffirmed its commitment to the protection of.
The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has equipped officers of the Blue Water Guards operating in the Savannah and Upper West regions with 11 Yamaha motorbikes to strengthen the fight against illegal mining related to environmental crimes.
Speaking at the presentation ceremony, the Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources and Member of Parliament for the Bole Bamboy, Yusuf Sulemana, noted that the motorbikes will significantly improve the mobility and operational efficiency of the Blue Water Guards in protecting Ghana's rivers and water bodies from the destructive effects of illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. He bemoaned that pollution of rivers and streams has become a major national concern, denying many communities access to clean and safe drinking water and posing serious threats to public health and livelihoods. We are bent on ensuring that our water bodies become clean again and our forest reserves become green again. We inherited a very dire situation, but the President is committed to ensuring that our water bodies and forest reserves are protected for generations yet unborn, he said. Officers of the Blue Water Guards who received the motorbikes expressed gratitude to the ministry and pledged to use the equipment strictly for its intended purpose in the fight against illegal mining. They, however, appealed for additional logistics, including boats and life jackets, to enhance their operations on water bodies. We are many, and it is not easy when we go for operations. We plead with the government to help us with more motorbikes and logistics, Kunde Kipo, a Blue Water Guard, said.
A fire outbreak at a girls' dormitory of the Pont Tamale Senior High School has affected 147 first-year female students, destroying shop boxes, mattresses, books, and other personal belongings.
The incident occurred on the night of Monday, February 2, while the affected students were on vacation. Out of the 358 female students housed in the dormitory, only Form 1 students were impacted by the fire. The headmaster of the school, Atimbisa Francis, confirmed the incident in an interview with Channel 1 TV on Tuesday, February 3, and appealed for urgent support for the school and the affected students.
So we have 358 students occupying this facility. But those who are affected are the Form 1s who are currently at home. And their number is 147. So we can approximate it at 147 students whose chalk boxes, books, and mattresses have been bent. Yes.
What's your difficult moment?
We are appealing to stakeholders, the government, municipal assembly, and the PTA to come to our aid, because some of our students are from homes that are always very difficult for them to secure all the things that have been destroyed by the fire, most especially their textbooks and chalk boxes, their learning materials. So we are appealing to stakeholders to come and support us and to see how best they can put the place back to shape, so that we'll have a comfortable place for our students to sleep and learn.
The minority in Parliament has raised concerns about what it described as a poor management of the economy under the President John Dramani Mahama's administration, insisting that Ghanaians are yearning for what it calls the proven and competent leadership of the New Patriotic Party, NPP.
Speaking during the first sitting of the second session of Parliament on Tuesday, February 3, Minority Leader Alexander Afenyomakin argued that the NPP has a credible and tested blueprint for economic management, in contrast to the National Democratic Congress, NDC, which he accused of relying more on public relations gimmicks than sound economic policies. Ghana is crying out for bold, competent, proven leadership. The current administration, in our view, is failing to manage our economy with transformation in mind, failing to inspire confidence, and failing to uphold the dignity of our people, he said. According to the minority leader, the NPP is not merely an alternative political choice, but a solution Ghana needs to address its economic challenges, citing the party's track record in government. The New Patriotic Party is not just a political option, it is a singular solution Ghana requires. The records will bear us out. We showed that for 8 years under President Kufuor and under President Akufo-Addo's leadership, we led Ghana towards transformation until COVID struck. Against all odds, we put Ghana back on the path of recovery. Indeed, the NDC offers much more PR gimmick than proper management. The NPP offers a proven blueprint. History will ask what we built when Ghana needed us most. The solution is here, and the solution is us, he added.
Allied health professionals at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital have called off their planned strike following assurance from management to address their concerns.
The group had threatened industrial action over management's failure to establish an allied health services directorate and appoint key leadership for the hospital's laboratory services. Speaking to the media, General Secretary of the Medical Laboratory Professional Workers Union, Dr. Sifas Kofi Akoto, confirmed that the decision to suspend the strike was based on commitments made by hospital management. He explained that management had demonstrated goodwill by agreeing to take immediate steps to address the union's issues.
We agreed that we'll give ourselves about 1 month duration. Even though we do not have control over the processes at the Public Services Commission, we will work together with management, follow up, coordinate, and the unions are going to police this process to make sure that we get to a successful end. Brothers, I think there is nothing more we can ask. All we want is to have good governance, to have right representation at the table where decisions are made, so that over 22 professions will not be missing from the decision-making table. And when things go wrong, that is only when the professionals are accused. We believe the good faith shown by management and leadership is enough for us to, at this point, call the action to a suspension.
The Vice President of Ghana, Professor Nana Agyemang Opoku Agyemang, has called for greater unity among African countries to strengthen integration whilst driving shared prosperity and economic growth across the continent.
Speaking at the Africa Prosperity Dialogues on Wednesday, February 4, Professor Opoku Agyemang urged governments across the board to develop long-term and medium-term policies, build strong development finance institutions, and implement regional projects that reflect the scale of collective continental ambitions. According to her, a unified Africa would enable entrepreneurs and manufacturers to view the continent not as a series of fragmented markets, but as one connected economy with vast opportunities. Professor Opoku Agyemang urged African policymakers and business leaders to prioritize initiatives that strengthen cross-border collaboration and regional economic integration. We must continue to integrate our borders. Africa must unite. This is not about erasing sovereignty. It is about organizing our sovereignty in service of shared prosperity and our market, Ghana's Vice President explained.
12 people are critically injured and have been rushed to the Winneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital for treatment following an accident involving a Toyota Voxy, a Nissan Altima, and Hyundai Elantra at the Gomwa Amenfi on the Winneba Mankasim stretch of the N1 highway.
City News has gathered that the Toyota Voxy with registration number GN9883-2025 collided head-on with a Nissan Altima, also bearing the registration number GW189509, after a wrongful overtaking by the Voxy driver. Following the collision, the Hyundai Elantra, with a registration GR 1972-2015, also ran into the rear of the Toyota Voxy vehicle. All 7 passengers on board the Voxy and the driver suffered life-threatening injuries. 4 occupants of the Nissan Altima also suffered varied injuries as a result of the wreckage. All 12 passengers have been rushed to the Trauma and Specialist Hospital in Winneba by personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service at APAM, who responded swiftly to the incident.
In some bits of politics, a new poll conducted by Global Info Analytics has suggested that the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, is on course to retain the Ayawaso East parliamentary seat in the upcoming March 2026 by-election. The poll indicates that either of the 2 leading contenders in the NDC primaries would comfortably defeat the New Patriotic Party, the NPP candidate, in a head-to-head contest. According to the survey, Hajia Amina Adams leads the NPP's Baba Ali with 73% of vote support. In a separate match-up, Baba Jamal also secured a clear advantage, polling 67% against Baba Ali's 33%. The findings were disclosed by the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa, in a Facebook post on Thursday, February 5th. Meanwhile, the poll also shows that Hajia Amina Adams is the preferred choice among members of the NDC Ayawaso East parliamentary primaries ahead of the elections. The survey indicates that 50% of respondents support Hajia Amina Adams, while Baba Jamal follows with 32%. The remaining aspirant, Muhammadu Ramin, Dr. Yakubu Zindo, Najib Muhammad Sani pooled 5%, 3%, and 2% respectively. The President, John Dramani Mahama, has warned that African nations risk stagnation and lost opportunity if they fail to work together, stressing that unity must be more than a slogan. Addressing the Zambian parliament on Thursday, February 5th, the President Mahama highlighted the importance of regional cooperation and coordinated action to accelerate economic growth across the continent. He called for the establishment of regional prosperity platforms, including shared manufacturing zones, integrated energy grids, and digital infrastructure as essential tools for sustainable development. We must negotiate with one voice on minerals, trade, and climate finance. Unity must be our strategy, not just our slogan, he said. As the African Union champion of African financial institution, the President Mahama urged the reparation and investment of a portion of African foreign reserves currently held in Western financial institutions. Most of these foreign reserves by colonial construct generate little or no interest. If 30% were repatriated and invested in our own financial institution, it will create an immense pool of wealth to drive rapid infrastructure expansion and economic growth, he added. You're still live on the News Radio, and a final wrap-up on the news and making headlines across the week. The Ghana Police Service has arrested 3 suspects in connection with a robbery at Kwabenya in the Greater Accra region. The arrests were carried out by Surveillance Unit of the National Operations Directorate (NOD) following investigations into the incident, which occurred on January 18, 2026. In a Facebook post on Thursday, February 5th, the police confirmed that 2 armed men attacked a resident at Kwabenya and made away with 2 iPhone 17 Pro Max mobile phones, a gold necklace, an Apple Watch, a 14,000 Ghana citizen cash, a car key, and $3,000. The robbers also compelled the victims to log out of the iCloud account from one of the stolen phones before fleeing. After weeks of intelligence-led operation, police arrested 3 suspects: Francis Amu alias Agogo, Anthony Boateng alias Aisha Kojo, and Musa Ibrahim alias Coded. Ibrahim is believed to have acted as a receiver of the stolen items, and according to the police, the suspects have admitted their involvement in the crime. A search conducted at the residence of suspect Anthony Boateng led to the recovery of one iPhone 17 Pro Max, an Apple Watch, and a Samsung Fold phone. Officers also retrieved offensive weapons, including a short machete, knives, scissors, lights, and a face shield. The suspects are currently in police custody assisting with investigation, while efforts are ongoing to retrieve the remaining stolen items and to arrest any other person. And this is MBN TV coming to you live from the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate, Nungwadugono. The news review is live on our social media handle on MBN 360, Facebook, YouTube, and X. The review still continued down to the business desk, where fuel prices, petroleum products are set to increase significantly from February 1st, 2026.
This is according to the latest outlook reported by the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, which guides pricing decisions for oil marketing companies. This marks the first time fuel prices are projected to rise, largely due to the depreciation of the Ghanaian cedi and rising international crude oil prices. The cedi has come under pressure since January 1st, 2026, driven by increased demand from the business restocking for the year and multinational companies making foreign transfer in line with dividend payment.
The Food and Drugs Authority FDA has announced the immediate closure of all food service establishments operating without a valid food hygiene permit effective February 1st, 2026.
The directive affects a wide range of food-related businesses, including restaurants, lounges, hotels, chop bars, snack bars, food vans, bakeries, event caterers, online food vendors, as well as canteens in schools, hospitals, and offices. The enforcement action is being carried out in accordance with Section 130, Subsection 1 of the Public Health Act 2012, Act 851, which prohibits the manufacture, sale, supply, or storage of regulated products in premises that are not duly registered for such purposes. In a public notice issued on February 1, the FDA stated, Food and Drugs Authority (FDA) wishes to inform the general public that effective 1st February 2026, all food service establishments operating without a valid food hygiene permit will be closed down. The authority explained that any establishment found operating without the required permit will remain closed until it regularizes its operations and secures the necessary food hygiene permit. The FDA has therefore urged all food service operators to take immediate steps to comply with the directive, stressing that the measure is intended to safeguard public health and ensure food safety standards. Members of the public and food business operators seeking further information have been encouraged to contact the FDA through its official communication channels.
Ghana is making progress in business readiness to continue to grapple with efficiency challenges. The World Bank has warned.
At a high-level Be Ready working session in Accra on Tuesday, February 3, 2026, Subika Farazi, senior economist in the World Bank's Business Ready unit, outlined the country's strengths while pointing to areas requiring urgent reform. According to the Be Ready 2026 assessment, Ghana's business readiness scores range from 72% in financial services to 34% in market competition, reflecting strong regulatory frameworks but persistent gaps in how policies work in practice. Comparing Ghana with regional peers, Farazi noted that regulation remains the country's strongest pillar. When compared with the regional peers, we see that the regulatory pillar for Ghana shows the strongest performance. Even for public services pillars, Ghana's scores lag only behind Togo, outperforming the rest of the economy, she said. However, she cautioned that efficiency remains a drag on competitiveness. In terms of the operational efficiency pillar, Ghana's relative performance is not as strong as that of many peer economies, including Togo, Senegal, Cameroon, and Cape Verde, showing stronger scores in the efficiency pillar. At the topic level, Ghana performs well in financial services, labor and business entry, placing among the stronger performers in the region. Overall, the business readiness of Ghana ranges from 72% in financial services to 34% in market competition. Ghana performs well in financial services and labor topics and, in fact, is in the top wind tunnel for labor, Farazi explained. International trade emerged as a key area where efficiency gains could deliver quick wins. Farazi cited clearance delays as a major bottleneck. For example, in Ghana, it takes an average 9 to 23 days for export and import clearance, which on average takes around 5 to 8 days in Cameroon. The working session brought together senior government officials, private sector leaders, and World Bank teams to examine constraints affecting food processing, light manufacturing, and trade facilitation priority sectors under the government's 24-hour economy program. The World Bank said the Be Ready findings provide granular, data-driven insights to support Ghana's reform agenda as the country seeks to improve operational efficiency, strengthen private sector growth, and enhance its competitiveness on the regional and global stage.
Still at the banking sector, the second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Matilda Asante-Asiedu, has underscored the need for African countries to expand the use of local currency in trade and financial transactions across the continent.
Speaking at the Africa Prosperity Dialogues on Wednesday, February 4, she said the push for local currency settlements must be led by central banks while safeguarding financial stability and maintaining public confidence. She noted that African economies must take deliberate steps to reduce their dependence on foreign currencies and deepen regional economic integration. Our vision is very clear. Africa must increasingly be settled in African currencies. All the transactions done in Africa through African infrastructure and supported by African institutions, she said. Ms. Asante-Asiedu highlighted Ghana's active participation in the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, PAPS, which enables cross-border payments using local African currencies. According to her, the system shortens the value chain and significantly reduces the cost of trade across the continent. She further observed that high transaction costs driven by inefficient and fragmented payment systems are stifling the growth of small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, across Africa. She warned that excessive charges disproportionately affect small businesses, women traders, and young entrepreneurs, constraining their ability to scale up, trade across borders, and compete effectively within Africa's emerging single market. Ms. Asante-Asiedu stressed that Africa's economic potential will remain largely untapped unless deliberate efforts are made to dismantle structural barriers within payment systems, noting that inclusive growth cannot be achieved while SMEs remain locked out by high transaction costs.
In our final review on the business desk, the Ghana Cocoa Board says it has started making payment to license buying companies to enable them pay cocoa farmers for their produce.
This comes after concerns were raised about cocoa farmers going unpaid for several months. Isaac Yao Opoku, a ranking member of Parliament on Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs Committee, speaking on behalf of the minority in Parliament at the presser in Accra on Thursday, February 5th, warned that delays in payment to farmers were creating hardship, threatening the cocoa industry. He noted that Cocoa Board owns ILBS more than 10 billion Ghana cedis for cocoa that has already been purchased, leaving the companies financially constrained. Responding to this in an interview on City Eyewitness, Jerome Kweku Sam, head of the corporate communications at the Cocoa Board, explains that delays in assessing syndicated fund forced the board to rely on international buyers to finance cocoa purchases. This arrangement, he said, came with the conditions that requires the LBCs to pay for cocoa
cocoa, with Cocoa Board reimbursing them later. In fact, in November, we made over 6 billion Ghana cedis. In December, we made over 5 billion Ghana cedis. And even in January, we made 6 billion Ghana cedis. This month alone, we have paid over 620 million, Mr. Sam Feder stated. We are indeed paying monies to them, LBS, for them to also pay the farmers whatever amount that is outstanding. He added that the board is working on a new financing model under the current administration to ensure that the sector is better funded and the delays like those experienced do not occur. Mr. Sam stressed that the delayed payment were not the result of Cocoa Board failing in its duty but were caused by a combination of funding challenges, changes in financing arrangement, and the need to develop a more sustainable system. Cocoa Board says it remained committed to ensuring that farmers receive their payment promptly and that the cocoa sector operates efficiently for all stakeholders. Away from the business deck is still live from MBN TV on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate. We now turn our attention to the international front, reviewing all the stories that has made headlines. A series of gun and bomb attacks across Pakistan's southern Balochistan province have killed 31 civilians, 17 security personnel, and the region's chief minister, Suarez Bugatti, says.
A series of gun and bomb attacks across Pakistan's southern Balochistan province have killed 31 civilians and 17 security service personnel, the region's chief minister, Suarez Bugatti, says. Security forces, according to the violence, killed at least 145 attackers, according to the Bugatti. The Balochistan Liberation Army, BLA, rebel group had earlier said it was behind the attacks, claiming dozens of soldiers were killed. The escalation is one of the deadliest days of violence in impoverished province where Pakistan government has been battling an ethnic insurgency for decades. Pakistan accused India of supporting BLA. The ILM has repeatedly denied such accusation.
And from that devastating attack in Pakistan, we go to the U.S., where the President Donald Trump announced that he has agreed to a trade deal with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, where the U.S. will lower tariffs on goods from India to 18% from 25%.
In a post on Truth Social, Trump said India will reduce trade barriers to zero and will also stop buying Russian oil. An additional 25% tariff penalty imposed for Delhi's refusal to stop buying oil from Russia will be dropped. The announcement comes less than a week after India and the European Union announced a landmark trade deal that capped nearly 2 decades of on-off talks. Modi said on X that he is delighted that an agreement with the U.S. has been reached. In the post, Trump said that a morning phone call with Modi included discussions of trade and the Russia-Ukraine war. He agreed to stop buying Russian oil and to buy much more oil from the United States and potentially Venezuela, Trump wrote. Trump added that, at Modi's request, he immediately agreed to a trade deal that would see tariffs lowered and India's tariffs and non-tariff barriers reduced to zero. Additionally, Trump said Modi committed to buying more than $500 billion worth of American goods, including energy, technology, agriculture, and coal products. The trade relationship between the U.S. and India has been strained since the U.S. imposed 50% tariffs on goods from India, the highest for a country in Asia, in August, including a 25% penalty linked to India's purchase of Russian oil. A White House official confirmed to the BBC that the Russian oil-linked tariffs will be dropped as part of the agreement and other tariffs lowered to put the rate at 18%. Big thanks to President Trump on behalf of the 1.4 billion people of India for this wonderful announcement, Modi said on X. When two large economies and the world's largest democracies work together, it benefits our people and unlocks immense opportunities for mutually beneficial cooperation, he added. Indian exports to the U.S. plummeted sharply as Trump's tariffs took effect. Officials in Delhi have been seeking partnerships with other countries, also grappling with Trump's tariffs. Last week, India and the European Union announced a free trade agreement that is set to lower taxes on nearly all goods between India and the bloc of 27 European states, as both sides seek to deepen ties in the face of increasing tensions with the US.
Away from the tariffs agreement decrease from 18 to 25 between the Indian and US, we go to Spain, where the Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, has announced plans to prohibit access to social media for children under 16 years.
The announcement was made on Tuesday, February 3, at the World Government Summit in Dubai. He said platforms will be required to implement age verification systems. Our children are exposed to a space they were never meant to navigate alone. We will no longer accept that, Sanchez said. We will protect them from the digital Wild West. He added that his government plans to introduce a new bill next week to hold social media executives accountable for illegal and hateful content. The move follows Australia's December decision to ban social media for children under 16 and is being closely monitored by other countries, including Britain and France, which are considering similar age-based measures.
The news is coming to you live from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate, live on our social media handles. The Weekend News Review. Now the news continue. Ryan Maud has been sentenced to life in prison for attempting to assassinate the U.S. President Donald Trump on Florida golf course in September 2024.
Routh, 59, was found guilty last year of trying to kill Trump, then still a presidential candidate, at the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. A U.S. Secret Service agent in the area spotted a rifle barrel poking out of the bushes and fired at Routh, who then fled the scene. He was arrested nearby. In a sentencing memorandum, Judge Eileen Cannon said Routh's crimes undeniably warrant a life sentence. He took steps over the course of months to assassinate a major presidential candidate, demonstrated the will to kill anybody in the way, and he has since expressed neither regret nor remorse to his victims, she wrote. Routh's lawyer, Martin Ross, said they would be appealing the case. Routh pleaded not guilty and elected to represent himself during the trial, which began on 8 September. A native of North Carolina who lived in Hawaii prior to his arrest, Routh repeatedly acted erratically during the court proceedings, including challenging Trump to a game of golf and making references to Adolf Hitler and Russian President Vladimir Putin. After a jury found him guilty, Routh attempted to stab himself in the neck with a pen before U.S. Marshals quickly escorted him out of the courtroom.
Now let's move to Beijing, where the Chinese lawmakers with ties to the defense sector have been removed from their position, state media said in the wake of an investigation of the nation's top general, just as Beijing tried to modernize its military.
The announcement made on the evening on Wednesday, February 4th by the Xinhua News Agency did not give reasons for the dismissal or said the lawmakers who are from the defense, aerospace, and nuclear industry were under investigation. President Xi Jinping's years-long corruption purge, the defense ministry said on January 24th it was investigating the General Yuxian, second only to Zheng and China's military leadership, over suspected serious violation of discipline and law. The probe, then seen on top Zheng ally, meant the U.S. lost a respected, well-known contact within the Chinese military, as successful U.S. administration have worked to build senior-level ties to avoid mishap between the world's two most powerful militaries. The sacked lawmakers are Zhong Engmin, the former head of state-owned conglomerate Aviation Industry Corporation of China, which produces most of China's military aircraft and drones, long-time nuclear weapons researcher Leon Changli, and also Le Qi, chief engineer of the state-owned nuclear power giant China National Nuclear Corporation. The principal government responsible for lawmakers' dismissal did not immediately respond to the fax request for the comment.
The dismissal were announced a month before Chinese legislature, the National People's Congress, converged for its yearly meeting, marking the start of a 5-year planning cycle for the ruling Communist Party. Jinping wants China, the world's biggest military spender, after the United States, to achieve what he calls a full military modernization by 2035. Although the U.S. Pentagon has said that corruption in the military ranks could be impeding progress towards that goal. Zhuan was named the AVIC chairman in March 2024, but his name is no longer on the company's website. The day before his removal, AVIC held a meeting on anti-corruption, the company said on the social media. Zhuan is also a former top executive at Shanghai-based plane maker Comac. Further, AVIC held a Tang Rixon was expelled from the party for corruption in February 2025. Liu ran the China Academy of Engineering Physics from 2015 to 2024 and had a long conducted nuclear weapon research, according to his biography on the website of the Chinese Society of Theological and Applied Mechanics.
And as we wrap up this weekend edition of the News Review, live and direct from our studios here on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate. For more news, log on to MBN 360. We're also live on our social media handle. But before I take leave of you, let's pick some 2 messages that were sent in via our WhatsApp page. You can also join us as we read these messages, and then we'll wrap up today's edition of the News Review. And this one is from A. Bennett, says, morning too. He said, if Dr. Domfen, Honorable Upon Nkrumah, doubted a 3.8 inflation now, most of us are not all, because we see it reflect at the market. Maybe figures were cooked under the MPP when they were in power, so he should let us know, period. Refers to, he sends his regard. And this one from a man from Menchia Capital. He said, after the elections, no campaign, let's all support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to win power come 2028, because we are suffering now. You can see there is no money to pay our great cocoa farmers, and this is so sad. And he sends his regards to Hawa Kumsen. And that's as we bring us to the final point, reading your messages. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the News Review. The weekend, make a day to the same time, God willing, next Saturday. We'll be back right after the sports, the lineup. My name is El Samuels. Have a good afternoon.